Europe, hello?
What did you just say?
You're...
I don't know. Why do we do this?
Well, we don't even do it anymore at this point.
We don't. Last week we did, but we didn't. We did it. Enzo screwed up our audio.
Yeah, it was a really good one. We gave out 100% winners the entire card.
I was actually mad because there was two fights. There's Reyes against whoever, and then there was another fight that I was really big. Oh, Finney was the other one. And we didn't even get to call that.
But do you feel Finney won that fight?
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. We were just talking about criteria.
But he got all of the takedowns and all the control.
And then what?
He didn't do anything, but neither did his opponent.
The other dude was punching
in
him.
1 round, like 2 rounds to 1.
I think that Valentin won first and third because Finney literally didn't. Second round was Finney, no doubt.
Yeah.
But the 30-27 was ridiculous for Valentin.
That was crazy.
But legitimately, and you know, I kind of thought about this, and he did the post-fight presser. My whole thing is I've always been a takedown submission guy. That's been my whole career. But at a certain point when I was watching MMA start to shift and takedowns mean nothing anymore, and I knew, hey, I have to be more than just a jiu-jitsu guy. Like, I cannot be this. I will never survive. I'll never win a fight. So I started learning how to strike and how to control the octagon and wrestle to the top and do things. And what's crazy to me is everyone was really complimentary of Finney afterwards, his post-fight press conference where he was like, hey, guys, I put out a dud. I'm sorry about that. And everyone gives him the excuse, well, he just started training MMA 3 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever it was. But the thing for me is 5 years ago, we already saw the shift in MMA. It wasn't 10 years ago.
Well, I think when they're talking about him just start training 3 or 5 years ago, I don't think it has anything to do with a shift or what you're supposed to do or whatnot. I think it's a technical ability and a comfort ability. You know, we do it. We're literally doing it today in MMA, talking about ground and pound, and everyone just holds because holding is comforting.
Yo, I got to jump in real quick. I just bumped a button so everybody's going to hear. I didn't realize that there were sound effects.
Yeah.
Play us another one. Let's hear one.
Yeah, and you can upload tracks to that.
Wait, that's a laugh or a vacuum?
No, dude, we just had like a live studio audience start applauding.
Well, we do have a live studio audience. People don't know that. Every show we've ever done.
Yeah, there's a whole studio.
So we completely as you guys can see, we rearranged everything. We're in an entirely new space now. And so all the stuff over here on my end has been rearranged, and I just bumped a button, and then I started hearing a sound effect on my end.
Was that thunder?
What's happening?
Yeah, no, it's I think applause.
Oh, okay,
this is an applause.
But there was a button that I pressed a second ago where it just sounded like this magical,
That's Brandon and I are on screen. Magical.
I am so comfortable right now. Look at me. I'm like wrapped up in these pillows.
Yeah. These pillows are nice.
I like this spot. This is nice.
This is a good spot.
So this is Santino's new house. We are not finished. I mean, there's a white wall behind us. Like, we haven't finished everything. We literally just moved in last weekend. So we're trying to get everything finalized and finished. We don't even have blinds up. It's just pretty bright. So don't yell too much at us. And next week, it'll be a lot better.
All right. Anyways, Finney, fucking learn MMA. My point is that when he started MMA, he should have been learning how to win fights other than just holding people and controlling.
You still do that.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Like, everyone does. Like, you're trying to hold. You don't want them to get up. I know I should let go and strike, but if I do,
have other
they're
skills, though.
up.
I can do other things.
Man, we've seen it at every level of every sport, in every gym. People are like, man, I know I should be punching right now, but I don't want to let this guy go. He's slippery, and if he gets up, I'm tired. And
I think that's not my point. Is he has no other skill development other than this one thing, and he's very good at it, but there's no other skill development. He already came in at the time where MMA was shifting towards damage over control, striking over wrestling, and he kind of refused to learn any of that stuff or get better at that.
Well, again, we don't know what he refused to learn. We don't know what he does in the gym.
Well, it doesn't show on fight night.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it might not show. Absolutely, it doesn't show. But we don't know if that's a tactical thing that he's doing in the gym, or if that's just he hasn't had enough fights to be comfortable enough to do what he wants to do in the gym.
And that's probably the scariest part, is coming up through the UFC. There's only one guy I think that's done that, and ironically, he's on this card this week, is Chase Hooper. And it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows for him either.
Separately, was that the worst? Did you watch the whole card?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was probably the worst card I've ever seen in my life. Top to bottom, the worst fight of it. The only redeeming quality of that entire fight was Josh Emmett picking Murphy up and just throwing him. And that was the only good part of that fight. Like, the whole thing, the whole card, everything was horrible.
It was weird. They judged it like a boxing fight. Like, Lerone won by moving backwards the entire time.
This week, what do we have?
Is that 314?
Yeah.
Stacked card.
It's actually a really... so it is a good card. I like the card. The main event, I am excited to see.
Unless it goes sour.
Well, not only that. Like, I like Diego. He's exciting. I like Volk. I just feel like with Ilya moving out, that it's not a real title fight. Like, I mean, it is. I get it. He vacated.
You're right, though. It
There's just
feels like
something not like it feels like an interim belt.
It's like when John Jones left and everyone else was fighting for.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, they're fighting for somebody else's belt. Let's get into this because we don't have a ton of time because it took us forever to finish getting everything set up right now.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Opening up the main card. Let me pull this up. We have Nora Cornolle minus 156 versus Hailey Cowan plus 136.
We haven't seen Hailey
in 2 years.
In 2 years. She's been wrapped up with her husband's scandal.
She also got hurt too.
Yes. But that's a lot of weirdness to go on with that scandal, the whole thing.
Take a guess where she is now.
Isn't she in Vegas?
No, she left. She's at Pound for Pound in Colorado.
Okay. So, yeah, just a weird...
Ironically, her moving there is probably her first real gym that she's been at.
So I'm curious just to see what she looks like, how she does. Being in Colorado would be good, but man, she death gasses. So like her cardio, Colorado can't be bad for her.
I don't think she death gas as bad as you say.
No, she does. I was watching her last, was it Jamie Lynn Horth?
Yeah.
And I actually remembered her looking bad, but at one point, I forget if it's the second or third round, they're both staring at each other. And Hailey is literally like, I was like, oh my gosh, it was like visibly like she is dead. It was way worse. Like go back and watch a little bit. It was bad. It was bad. It's funny. This fight to me is who does less in a fight. They're very similar. Like they're both big, strong girls without a lot of technical abilities who have kind of gotten away with being bigger and stronger in most of their fights. When they fight people who can actually fight, it gives them actual problems.
So now you have this, to me, a coin flip fight, and you have these odds. Who do you favor? Because to me, I'm looking at Nora. She's got decent Muay Thai. Her Muay Thai is solid.
I thought it was. Watching her in her last fight, all she did was rock back and throw like a left high kick. I mean, like
that's great.
100 times. It wasn't even like she literally like, please don't hit me, and then wing a high kick.
She's doing the Lordzilla.
Yeah. I was like, what is this? I don't know what it was. There was no offense. There was no tactical anything. She wasn't pushing the cage. She was just like defending and running away and trying to not get hurt. Then on the other side of that, you've got Hailey, who will just throw a left middle kick and kind of push you to the cage. She hopes you mess up too. She's like, shoot, I'll sprawl, get on top, and then you lost the fight for you. But these are two women who don't really do anything and only defensively grapple or defensively do stuff based on kind of being strong and athletic.
Well, Hailey tries to offensively grapple. She just can't get anyone down.
Cornolle's not a great... I don't want to say I think she can get her down. She might be able to get her down. I just don't think either of these women are the top of the chain.
No, you don't think so?
Yeah.
You think 0-1 Hailey Cowan, 33 years old, is not the future, is what you're telling me?
Well, I'm trying not to be an asshole. And that's...
We like Hailey. She's come out here and trained. She posted a mitt work video the other day, and I was thinking to myself, like, all right, I'm about to be impressed. If you put out a mitt work video, you're doing your best to make sure it looks great. And it was all over the fucking place. She looked like Alex Morono, but like the female version as a striker. Just punches all the way around. And I really like Hailey. She can hit really hard. She is very physically imposing, strong. Nora, I think, is a better technical fighter. She's got better technical Muay Thai. She's got more hate in her heart for sure. Like, she is way more willing and game to fight. I would say the line should probably be about minus 140 for Nora. But I think that Hailey could easily get her down and top timer, and she could become the favorite pretty quickly.
I'm leaning Hailey on this one. I think Hailey is actually going to get it. The other thing, the last out of me is you're coming from overseas, and I think that does something. So I think that'll, if there's anything to be had.
I mean, France versus America, how are you going to go against America? Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Hailey in this one. I do like her physicality here.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we have Tresean Gore plus 270 versus Marco Tulio at minus 330.
I was trying to find a way that Tresean wins this.
He's fine. He's good.
He is a lot better than he was.
We just haven't had a sample size.
Well, we talk about Chase Hooper. Gore is another one who came up through the UFC, was very limited early in his career. He's very athletic. I remember even Ray Waters, he was over with us training. Ray had a hard time taking him down. And eventually he got him down. But man, it was like, he's athletic and he moves well and he does a lot of the right stuff. His striking is okay. Like, it's not amazing. And he's starting to get really good at jiu-jitsu and he's submitting people.
He's a good power puncher. Guillotines are nice.
And he's smart where he knows, all right, let me push the fight to the fence. Let me do, like, he's fine. He does a lot of stuff well. I think with Tulio, though, he's just a little outgunned because Tulio is going to throw a lot of volume from the outside and he moves well and he'll defend well. And he does a lot of good stuff.
Tulio's legitimately very
He's
good.
legitimately very good. And so then it's like, well, how does Gore win? And that's the issue is I don't really know, but volume alone, if it goes to scorecards, I think it's a Tulio situation. And we've seen Gore get hurt before and rocked.
We've seen him gas. We've seen him get tired.
Gas. So I love Tulio here. But I actually think I wouldn't be surprised to see it be in 3 rounds, but just kind of a dominant 3 rounds.
Totally agree. Tulio is just the man. Like, honestly, no hate to Tresean. Tresean's getting a lot better. He's really good too. But like you said, like, he's going to get out volumed. He's going to get out cardioed. Maybe not now that he's at the lab. Who knows? But Tulio doesn't really get tired. I mean, that dude's just kind of a tank. His jiu-jitsu is excellent. Takedown defense. I mean, Tulio really is just the man.
There's not a lot to say on this one.
All right, moving on. We have Mudaerji minus 190 versus Mitch Raposo plus 165.
What do you got on this?
This one's interesting because, I feel like what the UFC is trying to do is give Mitch an easy fight for him, but that's very tough to find an easy fight for him. Just in general, he's a pretty undersized flyweight. He's very small. And Tszyu, while skinny, is very tall for the division. What is he, 5'9", something like that? He's very big. Raposo's good. Raposo got heavy hands. Sometimes he can wrestle. I worry a lot about his control, and I worry a lot about his entries. And that's the thing with Tszyu is like, once you get him down, okay, great. We're doing something here. But finding those entries are going to be tough. And I think Mitch is going to eat a lot of shots on the way in is the big problem. I could see Mitch winning this fight. I think this could be the parlay buster of them all. If Mitch really takes it to him, he's got to dog him, wrap up, his butt, take him down. But I think Tszyu's just going to pick him apart, snipe him the whole night.
I think Tszyu is going to beat his ass. I think it's going to be dominant. I wouldn't be surprised if you put him away. I know everyone, he had a split decision with Lima and blah, 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 blah.
That should not have been a split decision.
One, it shouldn't have been a split, but even there was a lot of it being close. Lima's a different fighter. He sits there and he waits and he tries to counter, and he was trying to counter too much and time these like big shots. And he literally just stands there and waits and waits and waits. And when you come in, then he tries to throw. He backs up and actually he'll go forward and then not throw and try and counter, and he big elbows. Love Lima, just stylistically, that's just a weird fight where you're waiting and waiting, then Mitch blitzes in, fires some punches, and then finds his way out. Tszyu doesn't do that. He backs up, but he feints and he throws. And he creates, I was talking about creating the counter instead of waiting for the counter. And Tszyu creates the counters. He's going to feint and he throws a jab and then moves, and throws a jab and then moves and waits. Knees are going to come up. The low kicks are going to go. I think he's going to be very dominant in this because he's not going to wait, and he does have the height. The other thing is he's getting better at getting back up. We saw him against Charles Johnson.
Yeah,
where
that was a great fight for him.
3rd round, he gets taken down. Boom. He comes up, gets up. Johnson starts punching Darces and anacondas, and he defended well. And then at the end of the fight, we see him attacking Darce on Johnson. So I think Tszyu's cardio has gotten better. I think he has gotten better at grappling. I think he's taking his time more. I think Tszyu is going to murder Raposo here.
All right, put the house. You heard it.
All right, moving along. Next, we have Sedriques, Dumas plus 170, Michał Oleksiejczuk minus 200.
This is a crazy fight to me. I think Lord Michael's gonna hurt him bad. I mean, Michał Oleksiejczuk, he's good at everything. He's good at takedown defense. He's got great hands. He seems to be getting caught up in such weird situations and weird things and taking fights that are with guys a lot bigger than him, weird stuff. Now, I think it's going to be a lot more reasonable. His boxing is going to prevail. Just overall fight IQ. I think Oleksiejczuk's going to cruise here.
Yeah, I think Sedriques one of those guys as well who's, first of all, he's got to win over Tulio. I think he got guillotined by Josh Fremd. But the thing with Sedriques is actually for his, I don't even want to say for as bad as he is, for unrefined as he is, he really knows how he's going to win a fight. And he will engage those grappling. He's actually a good grappler. He's a good grappler, and he scrambles well, and he'll get put on his back and then scramble up, and he finds his way. I loved against Tulio. I think it was later in the fight, 2nd or 3rd round. He shot. Tulio's hips just hit the mat, and Sedriques just, boom, off of it, turned the corner, came out of the back. Honestly, he does a lot of stuff really well. The issue is that his striking stance is very awkward, and he's very tall, and he doesn't shell up well, and he doesn't roll well. And then if he's trying to engage Lord Michael, who's going to be ripping body shots and uppercuts up the middle, it's going to be a hard, transition. I actually think if there's a big, what are the odds on this again? Producer Gabe Smith.
You have Michał Oleksiejczuk. How do you say it, Brendan?
That's good.
It's not bad.
minus 200, and Dumas is plus 170.
Okay. Man, if there's a fight that could be a buster, I actually think it could be this one. In a weird, like Sedriques is just almost like we saw Finney the other day, like a Finney type of fight where he's just hanging and grabbing and holding just enough. It's who did Eric Anders fight last? Jamie Pickett. He's a better version of Jamie Pickett. Kind of like athletic, hangs, push you up against the fence, does a lot of stuff defensively well, and can kind of steal some moments. I think Lord Michael wins, but if there's a weird, actually, I think there's actually a couple upsets later on in the card, but
whoa.
We'll get to that. But yeah, now I'm with you. I think Lord Michael does well. And look at strength of schedule, man.
He's fought the who's who.
Yeah, Lord Michael's losing to the best guys.
He was probably going to beat the shit out of Kevin Holland if that armbar didn't happen.
All right, cool. Next up, we have Darren Elkins plus 310 versus Julian Erosa minus 375.
I think this should be minus 975 for Erosa.
Really?
Because I think Elkins, first of all, you guys, Gabriel, Brandon, stop fighting. Just stop right now.
Or we're going to end up like the damage.
You guys heard him talk.
In fairness, we can't confirm that he didn't talk that way before fighting. He probably did.
Dude.
It doesn't seem like he's been playing with a full deck for some time.
He looks like Ali. Like he's like shaking. Like when you talk with him, he like kind of he didn't used to shake like that. Like his head. Like he looks bad. He looks bad. Honestly, it makes me sad that he's still fighting, that the UFC is still sanctioning stuff like this. I just think I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just worry. Like it's in a worry way. Like I really feel like
you're saying he could be competitive, but it's not worth the brain damage that he's still going to receive.
Exactly. It's just, he's taken so much damage. I mean, it's so much he wrote it on his chest, and he's so slow and he's so awkward right now.
I need to get pussy across my chest.
Yeah, gosh. And Erosa, man, he looked amazing against Christian. He can be out grappled in those situations, but I think he's smart enough to know and to wiggle. But honestly, I think it's going to be Jonathan Pierce and Erosa and damage all over again. Kick, touch, move, kick, touch, move. Don't stand in front of him. Don't engage in the grappling. Erosa's smart and he's still spry. So
do you think he's going to have a chance to not engage in the grappling though? Because damage is going to take it to him a little bit.
Yeah, but even I remember with JP, he had a really hard time getting inside, and JP just threw so many front kicks and touch and move, and Elkins used to throw and swing big enough to get people to shell up and go, but now people are not shelling up anymore because they see the punches coming, so they just kind of float out of the way.
But I will say JP is a lot better wrestler than Erosa is.
Infinitely better, yes.
Infinitely better.
No, but I think Erosa is going to touch the chin and move, and I think his grappling is good enough that he's not going to try to re-grapple Elkins, that he'll attack the neck.
He's going to attack the neck. Exit. That's the thing, though.
He will, but then I think he will use it to get up instead of like Pineda. Pineda just try to re-grapple, and you do not want to do that with Elkins.
So, okay, we watched the Sabatini fight. You called that one. That's the one you called. Sabatini. First of all, I've said this for a long time. We said it on the podcast, got erased. Sabatini is the best grappler in the UFC, period. And I think it's a close second to his teammate Sean Brady. But I think Sabatini, what he did to Brito was unreal. His hips, his positioning, not letting people get up once he's one takedown per round. It's amazing what he does. And almost on that level is how I look at Elkins, because people guillotine Elkins all the time. They always are wrapping his head, and he's never panicked a single time in his life. All he does is spin out, come to the top, re-grapple. His grappling's
amazing. But at some point, the slowness and the speed and the chin, it catches up. Like it just.
No, I'm not saying that in a fight. I'm just saying purely his grappling. I'm like super impressed.
It's amazing.
He is such a veteran, and he's been in every situation 5 million times. I'm not going to lie. When the lines came out, he opened up like plus 400. I tried to get that line. I didn't get it. I ended up getting Elkins plus 350. Not my favorite bet of all time. Not my favorite. I was purely going like, this number has to come down sometime, right? It's come down a little, but not enough for me to like exit properly. I think Erosa is going to end up winning this fight. I think he's going to end up hurting Elkins, but I think rounds 2 and 3 could get a little bit sketchy when Erosa, starts to settle into the fight. Maybe he's too comfortable. Honestly, it could take one takedown per round and we have something. It could take one time Erosa getting in and shooting on that neck. Elkins comes out, he controls the entire rest of the round and he beats him up. I mean, I really do worry about that. I think round 1 is going to be clear Erosa. Rounds 2, round 3, man, I think it's going to be, if he doesn't die, I think Elkins can make this extremely close. If not, take him down, beat his ass on the ground and win this fight. I'm going to go Erosa, but I'm not mad at my Elkins ticket.
Okay.
All right, next, we have the Young Guns versus the vet. Chase Hooper minus 800 versus Jim Miller plus 575.
All right, so here's one of the fights that I think that line is stupid. If Jim Miller doesn't gas, all right, so which Jim Miller has gassed when people grapple him in the past. Joe Selecki's the good example of that.
Yes.
Cardio notwithstanding, how does Chase Hooper win this?
People are going to say volume on the feet. He's, got a good chin. He's getting better, more spry, and eventually he's going to clip Jim Miller.
I think that's insane. I think Miller, gosh, if cardio wasn't an issue, beats his ass.
Because he's kind of better everywhere.
He's better everywhere. And Hooper's takedowns aren't good. Like, you watch him, and Guida can wrestle, but Guida's old as well. I mean, he's my age.
Guida's got stiff hips, though. Once you start cutting angles or body locking him, things become different.
He starts swinging around and going. Whereas Miller actually doesn't have those stiff hips, but he'll get taken down more traditional, just locked under the butt and go. But that's not Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper's the wiggle around and go. Yeah. And I think that style of jiu-jitsu wrestling isn't Miller's like kryptonite. I think actual wrestling is Miller's kryptonite.
Like what Vince Pichel did to him.
Yeah.
That was just straight on, lift you,
dump you,
hang on top.
In Selecki, I remember he was really good for a round, Miller was, and then just got tired and taken down. So then I wonder, like, all right, standing, Miller still has power. He's hurting people.
His striking's gotten so clean over the years.
It's good. He just knows what he's good at, and that's all he does. I feel like eventually Miller will get tired, and then Hooper will find his way and wiggle in something. But, man, I'm going for the stupid upset Jim Miller here. I'm going with it.
I think I'm actually right there with you. Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. Because, we look at this. Chase is a black belt, but the kind of black belt that he is, he's a very crafty, creative black belt. He does a lot of like splits and rolls and inverted guards and leg lock entries. And the thing with Miller is that was his whole thing, is that he was a good black belt before. So I think he's going to know a lot of the concepts, a lot of things. Maybe that's the way Chase wins, is some crazy submission or something.
I don't think so. I think personally, I could be 100% wrong. We're trying to read the future over here. Yeah. So like, how does it go? I think if Miller wins, it's back control, rear naked choke. I think that's the only way that he beats him here.
That Hooper wins.
Yeah, Hooper's. Yeah, okay. Sorry. If Hooper wins, I think that's the only way that he wins this fight. And his back control is phenomenal. Yeah. And his grappling is phenomenal.
His ground and pound is excellent.
His ground and pound is beautiful. Yeah. But I think Miller's going to be good enough to not be bellied out and beat up like that. I think he will know to like scramble and wiggle to where the choke is there, but not the beating of a lifetime is there.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I think he's got a lot of stopping power on the feet. I think he can hurt Chase a lot of times. And then we're going to see desperate shots. Honestly, as long as Jim Miller doesn't engage guard pulls, I think we're going to be, you're going to be happy with the Jim Miller ticket. And then the knockout's like what, plus 950, something like that. I think that's where the look too with Jim Miller.
I don't hate, man. If Miller was younger, I'd all day long. And I mean, can Chase Hooper win? Absolutely. Like, he's tall.
Can he win? He's minus 800. I would hope he wins.
Like, he's like, I only see it if Miller gets tired or if Hooper gets on his back late in the fight. Early in the fight, I think Miller will actually do well. Later in the fight, I think he'll end up getting submitted. If he's
this is going to be one of those tilting losses that it's like so close, but Chase ends up getting a split.
Yeah, I can see something.
All right, next. We have Virna Jandiroba minus 142 versus Xiaonan Yan plus 122.
Didn't tape it at all. I looked at Cornolle and Hailey Cowan. That was my one and done for the evening. I only did that because I know Hailey. Yeah, that's all you're getting out of me.
I love that you say because I know Hailey, and then you surmised she's not going to be fighting good people anytime soon.
Well, there's a euphemism in there. I could have said a lot of other things.
Kind words from you.
Yeah, I said I don't think she's the top.
Are these the off-whites? Right, you just got these?
Yeah, these are the off-whites.
Oh, those are sick. Can we show those on camera? How do we show them? Show the inside. That's the best part of the off-whites.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't even know if you can see them or not.
I bought fake off-whites for wrestling shoes.
Oh, yeah. The Fruity Pebble ones?
No, those two. I bought like 4 pairs from this guy, and I won't even give him airtime because I bought them. And then I got them 14 months later. And I would message him like after like 7 months. And I was like, hey, do you know if these are coming anytime soon? And he goes, why are you rushing me, bro? Blowing up my DM. And I'm like, dude, it's been 7 months. What do you mean?
Calm down.
I was like, I'm just going to ask for a chargeback on my card. Like, if you haven't sent these by now, like, what are we doing? I got it next week, bro. And then 5 months later. Anyways, what were we on?
We both got Miller. Exactly. We're on Virna and Xiaonan.
I think this fight is going to look incredibly linear one way or the other. Virna actually gets every girl down for having wrestling that's not very good. Yeah. And once she gets you down, she is phenomenal.
It's almost kind of like Chase Hooper.
Literally,
it's
like
just
Chase
bad,
Hooper.
but he somehow drags you down and makes it work, and that's how she is.
Yeah, they're just like they're jiu-jitsu takedowns, kind of like we talked about. Just like who do we say last week that got deleted? Was it Falcao or somebody different? They're
I
like
don't remember.
very jiu-jitsu-y takedowns. I like Xiaonan. I think her power, her lateral movement, everything here, I think she can hurt Virna. I had Loopy by knockout in that last fight. And then Loopy just decided to have the stupidest game plan of all time. Sitting there in a heel hook, staring Virna in her one good eye, just like, I dare you. It was the stupidest game plan ever.
She's crazy eyes from Mr. Deeds.
Yeah, and she hurt Virna 5 times in that fight, but could never press it, never go for it. The thing with Jan is Jan can crack. Jan has lateral movement. However, if she ends up on her back, that is some bad news.
We're done.
But Virna's going to slow down. Mackenzie doesn't slow down, right? And she ended up beating Mackenzie, didn't get submitted by Mackenzie. I think that if Virna has a good first round, rounds 2 and 3 are going to be really tough against Yan Xiaonan. I like Yan as an underdog here.
All right.
All right, next we have Dan Ige plus 143 versus Sean Woodson minus 163.
Ige's gonna have a hard time on this fight.
Yeah.
Like, this is rough because he is short. Woodson is the tallest human on the planet. And Woodson, man, he had the crazy weird fight against Lou. And then
after that's looked great.
Yeah, he got Erosa, with the guillotine and everything. But other than that, man, I mean, he's really frames his knees between his teeps and the way that he Muay Thai marches his knees. He rolls his shoulders well. Man, I just, how is Ige going to really put hands on him? And yeah, I think Woodson does so much stuff well. Stylistically, it's a really tough fight for Ige. So give me Woodson by decision.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's going to have to hurt Woodson early. He's going to really have to crack him and like take him out of there. But the thing is, Woodson sees everything in front of him so easily. And then I don't think Ige has the cardio to keep up with a grappling game plan. And he's never really shown that before. This seems like Sean's world, and Ige is kind of just living in it. This odds are actually pretty close for what I thought they would be.
Yeah.
Kind of thought just with the recent momentums and how everybody's looked in recent fights that Woodson would be maybe minus 200, somewhere around there. Yeah, I like Woodson by decision. I don't think he can hurt anybody, but and I don't think he's submitting Ige.
I think those knees are going to hurt.
Like enough to put him out?
Enough to hurt him. You never know about putting out. Ige's always shown a solid chin.
Ige's looked like he's been run through a wood chipper.
Yeah.
Like that dude's going to be Darren Elkins by the time he's done.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Next, we have Nikita Krylov minus 205 versus Dominick Reyes plus 175.
I think Krylov's going to beat Dominick Reyes' ass.
Why do you say that? A lot of people like Dominick.
Oh my gosh. With Dominick, first of all, I think he looks slow. I think he looks clumsy and clunky. His last 2 fights, they're wins. The Jacoby one, he sneezed and he threw a jab on accident and Jacoby ran into it. And then even the Anthony Smith fight, I mean, Anthony Smith did not look like he showed up to fight. He
hasn't for 5 years.
Yeah, he's backing up, not really doing much. And even then, like Dominick is just lumbered and he looks like he's gone down 6 notches on a technical level. I mean, he looks slow. He looks clunky. We know the chin isn't there. Krylov is fast. He's really athletic.
He's massive.
He's big. He can wrestle like all hell. And he comes to fight. The dude comes to fight. But more than anything, though, is I think his wrestling pedigree is going to work really well for him here, but his speed, I think he's just fast, and you see him throw with speed, and man, I think he is going to catch Reyes. I think this is going to be a Krylov domination beating.
What's so funny is that when Dom came back after all that time off, everyone was so worried about his chin. When he fought Jacoby, they're like, oh, Dom is going to sleep. And he looked horrible in that fight. He was backed up the whole time, losing every second of the fight until he didn't. And now all of a sudden, nobody's worried about his chin anymore.
I'm worried about his chin, his speed, his hairline, everything.
Yeah. This is a tough one because I understand where people are coming from. Like, if he can defend the takedowns, if he can get back to his feet, Krylov slow down a little bit, pick him apart. But the thing is you always have that chin and just the size and the durability and every little piece of this. I think I'm with you. Every time I watch Krylov, I count him out. And then I'm like, man, this guy is like, dude, if he fought all the time, he'd be fighting for a title next week. Like, he really is good. Yeah, I like Krylov here.
Cool. Next, we have Yair Rodriguez minus 190 versus Patricio Pitbull at plus 165.
I know it may be my turn, but I really like to hear your take on this, only because you've been around Pitbull so much. So much.
Yeah, this is an interesting fight to me because I was trying to go back and look at people Pitbull's fought that can be similar to Yair. And I don't know that there's one
Yair is Yair.
in the Rolodex. Yeah. And so I'm trying to look through and see what happens. And then you look at Pitbull's last couple of losses, the one in Risen, where he fought that kickboxer kid who's just swinging wildly for the fences. And like, that's a weird, hard person to fight. Who did he lose to before that? I forget, but you look at Pitbull and he's kind of gone from his bladed karate stance over the years into a little bit more of a traditional stance, a Dutch stance, whatever. Not to say that anything crazy. And
he lost to Chichiro Suzuki and then he lost to Sergio Pettis.
That's what it was when he dropped down to 35.
Yeah.
So, but think about that. We have a guy who fought at 35 a couple of fights ago.
Which I never thought in 10 years he would ever make that weight.
Yeah.
Because he was a thick guy.
A thick boy. But then you have a guy who's making 35 fighting a guy who could probably go up to 55. And this massive swing of things.
He's 37.
Yeah, he's 37. He's older. But he is so unbelievably good. He's so talented. He's so technical. His jiu-jitsu is really good. And then watching Volk. I was watching Volk because size-wise they're very similar. And, honestly, like Yair was really, I don't know if he was worried about his cardio or what, but he was really reserved in that fight and he sat back. And by sitting back, he really gave Volk the chance to find his range and his rhythm. The difference is I think Volk's wrestling is better than Pitbull's, but I think Pitbull's jiu-jitsu and control are probably better than Volk's. And then Pitbull's timing, and he's such an educated striker, educated fighter that he just finds ways to win. And Yair is almost so good, but then finds ways to lose. And everything in my head says like Yair is like
younger, faster, more dynamic.
Yes. And give me all of the boxes checked on the Yair side. And I can't just shake going, I think Pitbull will somehow find a way to win.
It seems like the mental thing.
Yes. Like something. There's a mental calmness and intelligence of Pitbull that he's like, I will find a way to win. And then Yair is like, man, I hit this guy with everything but the kitchen sink. He won't die. That's my way out. And I'm over exaggerating on both of those
But you're
lines,
exactly right, because look at they're both of their last two fights. Yair came out against Ortega and he hurt Ortega. He was beating Ortega's ass. And Ortega rolled his ankle. All that stuff happened.
Yep.
And then we find round 2, he gets taken down and submitted. In Pitbull's last fight, he fought Jeremy Kennedy, who was a massive 45er. He's a huge 40 for 45. And he hurt Pitbull and was winning the entire first round. And you're like, oh shit, Pitbull's losing to Jeremy Kennedy. And then he comes back and ends up finishing Jeremy Kennedy. And it was like two completely opposite trajectories.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't touch this. I think we really don't know because we know how good Pitbull is, but we also don't know what level of competition the guys in Bellator are. And it sounds dumb, but even if the teams are as good, you know what I mean, in one organization or the other and blah, 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 it's different. It's a different style. You just haven't seen them all fight each other. We haven't seen the Kennedys fight a bunch of guys on the UFC roster. And even guys like Chandler, you know, I mean, of course we saw Chandler do amazing in Bellator, came over and has not had that success. You see guys like Will Brooks, like these guys who do really well come over and they don't have the same success always. You get a UFC washout in Sergio Pettis, who is now, I don't want to say washout, but he was definitely like not.
He wasn't top 5.
He wasn't the top. And then he left to go to Bellator. And then, of course,
world champion.
You know, he's world champion. So I think the level of competition in the UFC is a lot higher. So there's that. I wouldn't be surprised to see Pitbull win. I hope he does. I like Pitbull. I like all those guys. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, if Pitbull keeps his standing, that's going to be a tough day for him. He's going to have to grapple at some point.
Even that, man. I mean, we saw Volk clip Yair and hurt him on the outside because if Yair comes at you and does his game, it's a rough night. If Yair sits back and starts like waiting, all of a sudden you let somebody dictate the movement and the range and find it. I think the chaos of Yair is the hard thing to handle. And if he takes away his own chaos, I think stuff gets a lot more manageable.
I mean, this certainly feels like one of the superstar signings, right? We saw Michael Chandler get signed. Yep. We saw Michael Venom Page get signed. They all win their debuts. And now this is a high-level fight. And each one of them, Rainier de Ritter, they were all put in high-level fights pretty quickly. Now we see...
And I don't think the UFC likes Yair.
I don't either, because he's been hard to deal with.
He's always turned down fights. They want to see him lose, and they want to see him lose to a guy that nobody knows on the UFC roster.
Shit, you're talking me into Pitbull. This I agree with you. To me, it was a past fight. You need to come out and see how Yair is going to look. The thing with Yair over the years, and everybody's known this, is he's had dedication issues. Like he's always drinking, partying all the way up until fights. He doesn't really take it seriously. He reminds me of an Anthony Pettis, of a guy who just goes completely crazy, but is so naturally gifted and so talented. They just win on heart and just skill versus Pitbull, who lives the lifestyle. I mean, that dude is just in and out every day.
But who's 37.
But who's 37. He's 5'7". You know, I mean, that is the best height, but maybe not for this fight.
I think he's probably 5'5".
Yeah, he does seem a little short. Yeah, he was kind of stacking up well to Pettis, who's really tiny too. I'm going to go Pitbull on this one, but this is like extreme low faith. I have no faith in this one.
All right. Next, we have Bryce Mitchell at plus 213 versus Jean Silva minus 253.
Go. What do we got?
You know, a lot of people are saying that this is going to be just like Sabatini and Brito last week. And I think there are some differences here. One, I think Silva is infinitely better than Brito. And two, I think Bryce Mitchell's not as good as Sabatini in grappling. And not to say he's not good. I think he's excellent, but he's just not the same. I guess his striking's probably a little bit better, so that's more dangerous. But I think that Silva just has confidence in every area, everything, every aspect that he's going to do. He knows what needs to be done. You know, they're the fight nerds, right? They're not from Chew to Box, which is completely different lifestyles, camps, thoughts, IQs, everything. I think Silva's not as rough around the edges as a lot of people like to make him seem because he does barking and all this stuff. I think he knows he has to defend takedowns. He's going to counter shot. He's going to pick Bryce apart. I understand the play here. Like, okay, he could get grappled, and I totally get that. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think over 15 minutes, Silva's going to end up getting up and hurting him at some point if he lets him get in on the legs. I know it's very square and it's not very sharp and cool to go on Silva's side, but I think Silva's going to end up hurting Bryce.
Well. We've got, I'm looking, Bryce Mitchell, where are you? All right, so in his UFC career, he beat Tyler Diamond by Bryce Mitchell, that is, majority decision.
It's good win.
Bobby Moffitt by unanimous decision. He twisted Matt Sales. Charles Rosa, decision. Andre Fili, decision. Edson Barbosa, decision. Got submitted by Ilya. Ige, decision. Crown Gracie, elbows. So, like, Bryce is not a finishing machine that everyone thinks he is. He's a grappling machine.
Yeah.
This is not a guy who's just starching people. And you know, the thing with Mitchell, though, that's kind of wild is, man, we were talking about with Hooper, he will drag you down. He took Ilya down. I mean, there's some clips just recently that came out of Ilya and Mirab wrestling. Who knows the level that they're going at, but Ilya was toying with him. Mitchell does a really good head on the outside single into a crackdown, and then he scrambles up to the back. He is really, really, really good at that. I remember watching him wrestle with somebody at one of the Apex fights, and there were two guys who were cornering other people, and so they were just drilling. We were there early. We were like the first fight of the night, and watching Bryce Mitchell chain wrestle was actually really impressive. He's actually really good. I was actually shocked at like the level of it versus just like athleticism, you know, grinding and dragging somebody down. But it was actually on a technical level, it was actually pretty good. Like you said, though, like Silva's really good. He does all the right stuff and he's patient. He's not going to be an idiot. I want to say I see Mitchell, Sabatini, and Silva in that situation.
Yeah.
But then there's just the aura situation of it, where it's not even on a aura of Gene Silva. It's Bryce Mitchell. You guys, we are 2 weeks away from Bryce, or a month away from Bryce Mitchell saying that he understands Hitler and would go fishing with the guy. Like, what is this? This dude is on another wavelength. And so that's for you guys, old schoolers, Paulo Filo. Do you remember Paulo Filo in WEC?
Yeah, it's a bit.
His last fight, you guys go out there and watch Paulo Filo's last fight with Xiaonan. All right. One of the last WECs there might have been Paulo Filo's last fight. And mid-fight, like, we're engaged. Like, is the camera on me? Producer?
Yeah, main camera.
Main camera. Are the other cameras not working well?
No, the Canon cut out a while ago.
Oh, we don't like that guy. Damn it. Anyway, all right.
More FaceTime for me.
More FaceTime. So Filo is fighting Xiaonan. Mid-fight, it's like, we're fighting, let's go. And he's like, what's up at the ceiling? Looking around. Dude's looking around mid-fight. And that, I feel like, is what we're seeing with Bryce Mitchell. We are seeing Bryce Mitchell unraveling the exact same way we were seeing Kanye unravel.
Do you see a murder-homicide in his, or a murder-suicide in his future?
Yeah, man, this is like Jonestown Massacre over here. Like, he's gonna rent a little villa in Guyana and just kill himself and everyone he knows. Yeah, I mean, you just see all of this stuff and you can't have your head on. All right, look, I'm not saying it's right, but even if you were, Like if you and I decide today, we're like, hey, let's go fishing with Hitler. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You don't say it. Like, no. Like, even if you think these things are a good idea, that's like Kanye with his like swastika shirt. It's like,
There's a lot of people I hang out with. I don't tell nobody.
yeah, like don't say all of the stuff that's in your head, you guys. Like some stuff needs to be kept alone in the closet, in the back, like leave it
In the
there.
closet,
in the
you guys.
closet. Yeah. But we're seeing Mitchell like at a low. I mean, does he turn around? I don't know.
How does this factor into the fight stuff?
Because they're crazy. You see people go off on these tangents and start to really unravel.
You think he climbs out of the cage second round?
I hope so. I hope he does. Anyway, I see Silva winning here. I don't know how. I don't know where. I don't know when. I just know that Silva has not gone fishing with Hitler.
You know, they keep posting that clip of Silva getting taken down and everything, and I totally understand it. Bryce is going to be like a dog on a bone on him, but I think Silva knows better than that. Silva's probably going to work nonstop takedown defense, and his hands are something else. They're crazy.
I want to pick Bryce. I really do. I really want to pick Bryce again to Sabatini the situation. But man, I can't get behind crazy.
His decision line is plus 600.
Who, Bryce's?
Yeah.
That's not a bad line.
That's a good line.
That's a good line.
All right, in the co-main, we have Michael Chandler at plus 145 versus Paddy Pimblett at minus 170.
This whole card. What? Like, I mean.
This fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how does Chandler not annihilate Paddy Pimblett?
See, but that's the thing. That's the thing. Paddy's been on an insane amount of steroids, doing all his stuff, getting his body right. But I'm with you. I'm thinking, okay, now this, and also this is a 5-round fight.
Chandler can go 5.
Chandler can go 5.
Paddy, can he go 2? Like, I don't know.
He gets tired every single fight between round 2. And he's going to be dangerous early. Like, he could easily clip Chandler. I don't see him submitting Chandler. If Oliveira can't submit Chandler.
Did Dan Hooker Chandler all over again? That's what I see right here.
Yeah, like so it's weird. I'm kind of switched in both the main event, and again, Volk is 1,000 times better than Chandler, but it's weird. Like I just see Chandler dominating this fight. He's a D1 wrestler, All-American.
Yeah,
D1,
Missouri.
Yeah, D1 All-American wrestler at a good camp, hits hard as shit. Didn't get submitted by Oliveira, right? He got out of everything that he did. And all I see Paddy doing is these weak British guillotines. Paddy could chin him.
He's good on the back. Paddy on the back. He has good top control, good body triangles, comes up. I like his grappling. I really do.
But Chandler's also really good at scrambling out of those positions.
Yep.
Like if Charles Oliveira isn't holding you there, it's hard for me to picture Paddy and then doing that again and again and again and again. And holding the back tires your legs out. It really is like one of the most tired. People don't understand that. Holding a body triangle for 2 minutes is exhausting.
Nothing worse in the world.
Yeah, and Paddy's, you can see very fast twitch. Like he gets tired after that stuff.
Round chin is just
always a liability. I think that Paddy probably wins the first round on like a low tempo kickboxing, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like it's hard for me to picture Chandler not just killing him.
Yeah, I think it's Chandler round 1 or 2 knockout. Like I don't even think we're going to round 3.
Really, the line keeps climbing too for Chandler. What is he? Plus 150?
145.
Plus 145?
Yeah, I think Chandler's going to chin.
All right. Yeah, me too.
All right, cool. Moving on. In the main event, we have Alexander Volkanovski minus 120 versus Diego Lopes at plus 100.
Before we do this, sign up to the Patreon, people. This house isn't free.
We did good last week. I did 3 bare knuckle events, caught some huge underdogs.
Nice.
Those bare knuckle events were madness.
Really?
We had Sabah Homasi. You know how Sabah fights.
Yeah.
Sabah is just a fucking animal, crazy guy. He came out and nearly killed this like fat Mexican dude, Mexican-Canadian guy. And then the little fatty just was like, all right, I'm game. And he beat the shit out of Sabah.
Really?
Beat the shit out of him in Dubai. It was incredible. He's got a big old beer gut. He's just like having a good time. Beat the hell out of Sabah. Great. But we cashed, he was a plus 390 underdog or plus 310. We cashed a bunch of stuff. These, not this week, but the following week, there's 2 more bare knuckle events. So go sign up now, get on the Patreon. We got LFA, we got all kinds of shit, UFC, all kinds of stuff. We're going to stay busy this week.
Come on, say hello. What do you got? Volk, Diego.
I love Volk. I think he's one of the greatest fighters of all time. And I think his chin is such a liability at this point, and he's against a very big hitter, a very aggressive hitter. And, if this fight extends into rounds 3, 4, 5, okay, maybe Diego slows down. But I think that chin is always liable to go. And I love Volk, and he should win. But Diego is always going to be dangerous, and Volk is going to have to get close enough to him to touch him. And I don't know, like this is a fight that I'm just going to pass on altogether. I think that Diego's probably going to chin him, and probably in the first or second round.
That can happen, absolutely. That chin is a liability.
Because we just haven't seen anything past that. He's just been getting chinned every fight now.
The issue, though, is that Diego is, so I don't want to misspeak over here. Where are we at? Diego Lopes. And honestly, man, just good for Diego for going from losing a contender to Brito to title shot.
We kind of need that fight again.
Yeah, it's kind of a good one. He is absolutely annihilating people. So Gavin Tucker took him down and submitted him. Diego submitted him. He chinned Sabatini. Sabatini's always been known to have a really good chin. So that's to do that. He chinned Sedriques. Sedriques is good. And Ige, I mean, man, it was Ige gonna Ige.
But Ige's got a better chin at this point in his career than Volk does.
Well, yeah, but Diego just took his back and piggybacked him for 2 rounds, but then definitely lost that third. And then you have Volk, all right, where Islam knocked him out. And that one, he probably shouldn't have, whatever. Ilya murdered him, but Ilya's murdered a lot of people. And so then, and even that was a year and 2 months ago. So it was a good amount of time off. And that was in the third round. So he's got that. The issue is, so Diego, I think his best punch is right uppercut. And people come inside and they think that they're going to grab him, and that right uppercut hits, and that's a wrap. He's really good at that. But Volk's not a guy who's going to go try and grab him at all. He's not even a guy who's going to box him. Volk is a kicker,
outside kicker.
Yeah. So he steps left, steps right, inside low kick. Then as those inside low kicks start to land, then he starts adding his hands and moving from there. So I think just off of round 1 alone, that's a Volk round, because now again, I mean, maybe Diego, they start swinging and going and whatever. But if he doesn't chin him then Diego's energy bar is already at 50%.
And then it's Volk all night, all day.
And then it really is. And then you've got Volk, we know is going to go 5 rounds. We know can wrestle. We know he can out grapple Diego easily. And honestly, he can out kick Diego just from the outside moving. And so now we're banking on Diego landing that right uppercut, landing those big punches, not putting together 5 rounds, not out cardioing him, not out jiu-jitsuing him, not submitting him, not taking him down, not grinding him out, not ground and pound. We're literally banking on him in round 1 or 2 to chin Volk.
That's a slim margin of victory, but it is very possible.
Oh, it's 100% possible. But give me all of this isn't Jason Witt we're dealing with over here.
You don't think that Diego can still win rounds striking in the later rounds, like round 3? Just with the boxing, kind of the bigger shots?
I don't think so unless Volk is hurt. I think Volk round 3, 4, and 5 is just one of the best in the business. And this going from like the Max fights where you see him losing round 1 and 2, and then he changes gears and starts putting Max on his back foot, starts taking him down, starts going pressure. I think he's smart. I think he knows how to win. And I think a lot of people get old and they don't know what to do. And so they fight until they lose again and again and again.
Seems like Volk only wants to fight.
I think he still has some fight in him. I think he does. I think he just went up against a massive Makhachev and just, who's better right now in the game than Ilya. So yeah. I'm going Volk here times a million.
Fuck, I want to change my pick because you're right, but man, it certainly feels like Diego's got all the cards.
He's got everything going for him.
Pitt. Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is a tough fight. This is one I'm going to sit out, I think, a lot on.
Yeah.
Not play so heavily because these are a lot of fights I just want to watch.
Say that now until Sunday morning comes along and you're like, man, I'm selling my kidney.
Yeah, probably.
I lost everything.
I put it all in Volk and then look what happened. Alrighty, guys, that's another show. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will be back next week and we'll make some things better.